Hi everyone, how are you doing? I hope you're doing great. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Facts and Two Cents. As you know, we are a channel that's supposed to Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Harry, Meghan, Archie, Baby, Lily, Mama, Doria, Poola Guy, the chickens, all of us here at Sussex Squad. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, what's going on in our Sussex world? Well, our faves are in Montecito somewhere doing something. Preferably, I like to think of them under a tree, maybe somewhere, doing whatever it is they want to be doing under that tree. So, yeah, they have been quiet since Harry got back to California. And well, obviously, we saw him a couple of days ago in San Diego with the Warrior Games. But Megan has been out of sight. So I'm like, girl, you just do you, chill, focus on your mental health and your peace and all of that wonderful stuff. So, and I'm assuming also too working on her season 2 of her podcast, or maybe working on Pearl. I don't know. Who knows? That's my fantasy. So whatever she's doing there, and also obviously both of them taking care of their two little ones, Archie and Lilibet. And so big boy Archie and big girl Lilibet. So we like to think of them as that. So we'll just, imagine them as that, enjoying, and Archie enjoying his bike and whatever else he got for his birthday. And Lilibet, whatever it is she got, I'm sure they're enjoying it. So, but stuff are happening around them. So that's cool. As I just mentioned, and we all know Harry was in San Diego last week, and that was the well, actually, well, yeah, like 3 days ago. So yeah, over the weekend in San Diego with the Warrior Games and having a great time with his mate. It's so funny. It's like Harry really is home among his fellow vets, and it's wonderful. They love him, he loves them, and it's just a wonderful relationship that he has, no matter where in the world he is. And I think especially with the American vets, he's always had such a great relationship with the military community here. There's such a incredible mutual respect among them, and a mutual love, and in an embrace that they have. And I think it's so wonderful. And the US SOCOM, which is so I think it's actually Karen M that let me know what that meant the other day, as I had no idea. And so as you can see on their Twitter feed over there, it's a Special Operations Command. So the US SOCOM, Special Operations Command, they also tweeted, because last episode I had posted where the Warrior Games had tweeted about Harry being there and cheering on and supporting the vets at the Warrior Games, and also at the end doing, I guess, the closing speech. He pretty much spent the day there. And so the US SOCOM, they tweeted, they sort of quote tweeted Warrior Games, and they're like, Prince Harry watched Team SOCOM win the gold medal in sitting volleyball and met with other members of the team before giving remarks to all the athletes to help close out this year's Warrior Games. Invictus Team US will be heading to Germany in September for the Invictus Games. And so again, I really love their relationship. I love the relationship he has with them. And it just warms my heart. And again, we can't forget what happened in the UK, and how, especially in the royal household, how horrendously they treated Harry, refusing to even lay a wreath for him at the cenotaph. And so it just, for me, it's just this is the kind, when you think of military service and you think of your country really appreciating and respecting you, and then among your military community just embracing you. This is what it's like. And I think he has that with some in the British military as well. It's just some of them are not. Yeah, it's just, again, that whole ingratitude that comes from the press, and especially the right wing portion of the UK, as like really seeped into the military military, and they have that. Some of them have that attitude, and it just is really disappointing. So, but you see none of that in the U.S. Armed forces at all. There's just that respect among them, and respect and love for him, and appreciate for him for what he has done and all that he has done for the military. So it's just really wonderful. Really, really wonderful to see. And also, Harry wouldn't be Harry if he's not playing with dogs, right? And this, it's so funny. I love that the dog has the headphones on, or at least it looks like headphones. But so I'm not sure why, maybe it's a medical thing or something. I don't know. Maybe it's a training thing as well. Could be. But here's Harry playing with this couple is part of this the SOCOM. I mean, I'm calling it SOCOM, so I don't know if that's what they call it, but Special Ops Com. So that couple is part of it, and that's their dog. And of course, Harry is playing with the dog there. And then he took a picture with the couple there. So it's really, I mean, they all really had a great time. So many of them were actually posting on social media, especially Instagram, about Harry being there and their interactions with them. And so there's like quite a bit on Instagram. It's a little too much for to pull in, but it's just wonderful. It does the heart, great to see. Just great to see just the relationship again, just a relationship with them. So anyway, you go, Harry, with your community, and everybody obviously looking forward to Invictus Games coming up in September. So yes. So anyway, before we move on, if you are here and you have not subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe. As you can see, the little scrolly bar in the bottom there. Please subscribe and click the notification bell so you know when we drop a video. And please like and share the video. And help us continue to build our channel. It's growing slowly, but I am so grateful for all over 7,000 of you who have subscribed. We're hopefully gonna get to 8,000 quickly. That would be awesome. My goal is at the end of summer to be at 10,000. That would be fantastic. More would be great too. Yeah, so and if you're able, please join the channel. Join the 2 Cents crew. That would be really awesome. And yes, and as I put to our 2 Cents crew, or 2 Cents book club, since I'm talking about the 2 Cents crew now, 2 Cents crew book club will be coming up, I think, on the 16th of July. I think it's the 16th. I have to go check that date. But we will be we will be reading, or I'm hoping many of you may have read it already, Michelle Obama's book, The Light We Carry. And so we will be discussing that for our next book club next month, July. So it would be really fantastic if if you haven't read it, grab that book and we can chat about it at the next book club, or 2 Cents book club. Yeah. Hope you're excited. The last two, a lot of people weren't all that into it. And so it was just like, oh, it's just, but I hope, it's been a popular book around. So I hope many of you have read it and we can chat about it, and you'll be excited to talk about it, because I'd love to talk about it. So anyways, moving on. Oh, if you haven't heard about this happened yesterday. One of this New Zealand, this editor from this magazine, this women's magazine in New Zealand, came out yesterday with she wrote an article in this. I mean, it's the first time I was hearing. I guess it's an online outlet, I guess, or a magazine. It's called Capsule, and so she wrote this New Zealand editor. Her name is Alice O'Connell, and she was the editor for New Zealand Women's Weekly. And so she wrote this article in Capsule, apologizing to Prince Harry, and in some places in there she apologized to Meghan as well, for the basically negative, nasty articles that she were writing about him. And it's very interesting. She basically saw, I think, when, watching Harry do, as part of the court case that which is actually still going on as we speak, even though it's not high on the news, because Harry, he did his thing the 6th and 7th and then left. And so, but the court case is still going on every day. They have, including today, they have witnesses on the stand that, sharing their stories and all of that stuff. And so she saw that, and she was very, I guess, cut to the heart about that, and really, having to take a look at herself, and the kind of stories and articles that she approved of as the editor, and I guess wrote as well about Harry, child, or even before he met Meghan. And the things that she, as an editor, they would have British writers come in and, either contribute or write articles for the magazine. And so she had to, she's talking about, a lot of them just coming to realize, or acknowledging for the first time, that some of those stories were lies, some of them were twisted, some of them, really and they were really disparaging and really one-sided, and because they had a narrative, and they had it was very biased. And another thing that really got her to this place where she feels like she needs to publicly apologize was seeing one of the articles that she was the editor for in her magazine, that was a part of the Harry and Meghan docuseries. And a part of that docuseries, they were putting, I guess they had a montage of different tabloids with very, very negative articles. And she had approved one from her magazine outlet about Meghan, and basically, it's very disparaging about Meghan. And so she saw that, and she said it made her feel very embarrassed, and just really like alarmed to what she felt like she went into this, as an editor, really wanted to make change and all of that stuff. And then here she was contributing to this hate. And so she decided that, what, I'm going to change. I'm going to apologize. She said she had started writing articles defending them, but the thing that she had never done was actually apologize. And so these are just some little excerpts from her article in Capsule. And I'm going to move our little banner there. Again, if you have not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Move it there. And then we're also going to move our little logo up there, and so that we can read the whole article. So this is what she says. And again, this is Alice O'Connell. She was a former editor, I should say, former editor of New Zealand Weekly, Women's Weekly. So, she said, I published some stories that were unfair and incredibly one-sided, and can now see where from sources. And can now see were from sources who weren't telling the truth. My biggest mistake, though, was that I stopped seeing Harry as a human being. And I think that's a lot of reporters, especially in the UK. They treat them like a piece of meat. They're not human beings with feelings. And that's what she's admitted to, that she stopped seeing him as a human being. Another excerpt from the article, she says, as I watch Prince Harry's court case, I feel nothing but shame and anger and regret, because he's right. He's completely right. Although, unfortunately, I fear won't have enough evidence to win. So when Harry was talking just about his feelings and, just what it was like for him to know that he was blagged and hacked, and people, just completely invaded his privacy and all of those things, and how he was treated, that's what she's referring to here. She's like, he's right. And, but, she had to put in there. And actually other people have said the same thing, that, because a lot of the evidence is circumstantial, they don't know that they can win with that. Maybe the judge will see it differently. Who knows? We'll wait for the judge. Another part of the article, she says, I reprinted stories and quotes from British newspapers and magazines that, knowing what I know now, were untrue. I commissioned stories from British writers who I trusted for their connection in the palaces, but contained information that was, in hindsight, likely very untrue. Another part of the article said, as time went on in my role and the pressure to sell magazines kept building, I soon found out what sold and what bombed. And stories of princes sold, stories about Meghan's past sold. And so hence that article she was referring to, that was in the Harry and Meghan docuseries, that was very, she was like, she said she felt very, sorry and mad at herself and all of these things. She was emotion, but she felt embarrassed as well because she was part of it. And again, that article was featured there as one of the hate magazines, I guess. Um, then she goes on to talk a little bit about, some of the Rhoda, the Royal Rhoda, and their behavior, when when they visited New Zealand. And so she was, this is a little bit of what she said about them. It says, while the Rhoda were a grumpy pack, constantly barking at him to move or face them or get in the shot, nearly all of which he ignored, they complained that he wasn't pandering to them. And then she goes on to say they did complain about the weather. And so this part is where she's talking about, while she was there, all the nasty things that were writing about Harry, how Harry was, even though he wasn't rude and he wasn't unkind or anything, you could tell by his face and how he ignored them, literally ignored them, that he did not like them. And and this is a part where she's like, they were constantly barking at him to move here, get in the shot, turn to face them, whatever, which he ignored. But, her thing was like, he was right. Because, why would he feel inclined to, follow their orders, quote unquote, when they write such horrible things about him and their attitude really sucked, And and at the end of it, she basically was calling out her other reporters about, that, they probably not like her, not going to go back and look at their own lives and look at their own actions. They most likely will continue to blame him. But, she basically encouraging them to do that. And, at the end, she also talked about, that Harry and Meghan deserve better, and she apologizes to them. So, I mean, in one way, it's good. In one way, it's good. I mean, I hope she sent a letter or something, a personal letter to them. And this is not just it, that she sent a personal letter to them apologizing and that she changes. Look, we all do stuff that we've all done stuff in our past that we regret or feel like, okay, no, this wasn't right. We've all been there and make mistakes, and some of it deliberate, because she spent quite a bit of time in this magazine. You couldn't tell me at those times she didn't know some of those stories were not true, even though now she's saying, in hindsight, well, now I'm sure with better, but they were all part of we need to get money, we need to make money, so let's do, let's say whatever we want to say, and let's do whatever we want to do to make money, no matter, if we know that maybe the story is not true. But as she was saying, the desire and the pressure to make money and to sell your magazines trumped whether the story was true or not, and so but look, I'm not judging her, whatever. She should have known better. She should have done better. But again, we've all done things in our past where we are in that same boat where we should have done better. So, I mean, everyone would think think in their own ways about her and what she did. But I'm like, okay, so now I hope she does better. I hope that, whatever she goes on to do in her life, that she would be a better person. This is her opportunity to, be the better person that she claimed she wanted to be. So hopefully now she would do that. So anyways, I'm going to put the link in the show notes so at least you can take a look at it and see. So we hope, well, good luck to you, Alice. At least you're admitting what you did. So hopefully now you'll go on and be the better person that you wanted to be. So anyways, moving on. Like I was saying, the court case with Harry, even though Harry already did his part, it's still going on every single day. And so I think this was yesterday. Fiona Whiteman, she apparently was married to this apparently very popular comedian. Or I guess he had like a comedy series or something like that in the UK. And she was on the stand because she was one of the victims of the Mirror, illegal information gathering. And it was very, I'm telling you, the last time we talked about the girl from Coronation Nation, I guess Coronation Street, I think it's called Coronation Street, and how the reporting was so bad on her that it got so bad where people were physically attacking her, where these girls in a bathroom lit her hair on fire because of some of the reporting that the Mirror had done. And this woman, she was married to Fiona was married to Paul. It's this guy named Paul Whitehouse, this comedian in the UK, and she had gotten cancer. She was young back then, and she had gotten cancer and all of this stuff. And the press, instead of backing off and giving her space to deal with this traumatic experience, this is what happened. This is what they did to her. And so this is a little bit from the BBC article. It says the barrister David Sherborne, which is Harry's barrister, representing Miss Whitman, spent several hours detailing her claim that the Mirror Group journalists, with a record of phone hacking and commissioning private investigators, tried to get information about her and Paul Whitehouse, a comedian known in the 90s for his comedy sketches in the Fast Show. MGN, or the Mirror, has admitting paying a blogger, Christine Hart, to try to obtain details about her medical condition. Again, this woman just got diagnosed with cancer. The Mirror, or one of their papers, paid this private detective, Christine Hart, to try to obtain details of her medical condition. Miss Whitman, or Whiteman, however she says it, described in her statement receiving a call from her surgeon secretary, who had been asked for information about her treatment by someone purporting to be from Stanford Orthopedic Hospital. I haven't told them because, one, I wanted to call you and check you're okay, and two, because it seemed fishy, said the secretary told her. So her doctor secretary got this fishy phone call from this person wanting her medical records, and the secretary, instead of giving it out, thankfully, decided to call Fiona and made sure, because she's like, something is not right here. And so it goes on to say the blagging attempt, which is in what they're doing, that's what's called blagging. The blagging attempt was unsuccessful, but Andrew C. Green KC from MGN, which is Mirror, apologized on Wednesday in court, saying it shouldn't have happened. It did, and it won't happen again. Miss Whiteman said the press attention on her began when she started. The press attention on her began as she was starting to try to recover from cancer. And she talked about how difficult it is, that it prolonged her recovery because she was so stressed out about and so petrified and paranoid about this situation, and suspicious calls coming to her home. And then on top of all that, her husband was cheating and all of this stuff with and then the Mirror, they sent news reporters to doorstep her, and was like, show up at her door, and all of that stuff, when this poor woman is trying to recover from cancer. And it's just like unbelievable what that they do. And so many of these stories are so similar, and they do the similar things. And so that's why, even though, again, they don't have specific, like, okay, the call log or an email or whatever, they have different receipts with, for example, her name on it and stuff like that, so you can prove. But they don't have, like, say, a voicemail of the reporter making the call, and all, or the private investigator making the call. They don't have that. So I'm hoping the judge will, when you put all of these cases together and all how similar they are, and to see the tactics that's used, it's like, it's hard to not come to a conclusion that, yeah, you know what, you've been doing this. The pattern is there, so it's unbelievable. And for some of the things that they do, this is what another one of the Mirror reporters, I think this one, was in Ireland, one of the Irish Mirror reporters. This is what they did. Journalists accused of rifling through Irish broadcasters' bin. This guy, he passed away, but he was a part of he was a news guy, he was a broadcaster, and they did this to him. David Sherburne was questioning Paul Martin, who's the reporter, about the Irish Sunday Mirror's publication of private letters of Jerry Ryan, the late Irish broadcaster. Mr. Ryan was found dead at his home in 2010 with cocaine in his system. Mr. Sherburne said the decision to publish his letters proved Mr. Martin and his colleagues were prepared to do things like voicemail interception and blagging. Mr. Martin denies this, obviously. Mr. Sherburne plays a video clip to the court of an interview Mr. Martin did, claiming he was given the treasure trove of documents from by another journalist who found them in a bin near his home. Sure. You just happen to find, dirt on this man, this dead man. You just happen to find him in a bin near your home. Sure. Mr. Sherburne then reads from another interview in which Mr. Martin said he went over to it and emptied it himself. Mr. Martin maintains the anonymous journalist gave it to him, and it was done with the consent of his then girlfriend. And the point of this is the British reporters would do anything for a story, include rifle through a bin, a dustbin, a garbage can, to get anything on you. They will doorstep. And one of the things, I think it was Fiona that talked about them going to the door of her elderly parents, or elderly mom at least. It was just, they would literally do anything for a story. And they would, it is unbelievable that this is legal. And yet they get away with it. Nobody does anything. They've all gotten, the majority of them really have gotten away with this stuff. And it just, and the thing about it too, I think it was an article I read that they did mention that some editors would hack into their own reporters, voicemails and stuff like that. It just, I don't know how you feel safe, even if you work at these places. I don't know how you feel safe and protected when they would go hacking into their own people's voicemails to get dirt on them, I guess, especially if they are leaving or something like that. It is incredible that they would do that, And of course, the Mirror, they deny it, but the evidence is there. So anyways, moving on to more pleasant things. Chris Boozy. Spoutable is there and doing great. If you ever wanted to, come on social media and you didn't want to be going on Twitter, which is a cesspool, I am going to be definitely limiting my everything on Twitter because it's like, gross. Absolutely. It's like infested with trolls now. Well, not now. It's always been. Now it's even worse. And so Spoutable is there doing great. And among the new, social media platforms like Twitter, Spoutable, as you can see, is way out in front of all the others who have been there long before Spoutable. Their total traffic the past month, Spoutable has got 13 million people, has gone through 47% up, ahead of Post, Tribal, and Hive Social. And their total visits, look at the total visits on the right. Spoutable is at 6.4 million. Blue Sky Web is the closest, which is 4, and then Post at 3, and Tribal 1, and Hive Social 1. And Hive Social is like, they are way at the bottom at 178,772. But Spoutable is doing great. It's a great alternative to Twitter. Again, there's no trolling or anything like that there, which is great. You just, and they do a great job. If anybody comes on there, try to troll, they will take you out and you can never come back. So which is great. So again, if you ever wanted to come join us over on Spoutable. This is my big commercial for Spoutable. No, I'm just kidding. I'm over there. I'm just going to be limiting my my Twitter. I can't anymore. So I would love to see you there. We can chat. What else is happening? As we know, Tuesday, the Department of Homeland, I've just literally not paid attention or not really wanted to give these people any kind of attention at all. And so I have literally said no in talking about this, with the immigration stuff that they have brought against Harry. And on Tuesday, again, the Homeland Security, they had gone to court, and the court kicked it back to Homeland Security. They're like, you deal with it. And they're like, our final word on this is no. We're not going to be releasing Harry's information. The answer is no. And so this is Niles Gardner. This guy is so sick. He is obsessed with, he's like he's like Piers Morgan and Dan Wooten. He is despicable. Squatties have put together just all his social media posts, hundreds of social media posts attacking Harry. He's obsessed with Harry and Meghan. He's obsessed with hating them. And he is a guy, he was in the Margaret Thatcher administration. He used to work with Margaret Thatcher. And so now I guess he is stationed in Washington, D.C. And so he is one of the heads of that horrible hate group. And I'm not even going to say their name. That horrible hate group, this is him, Niles Gardner. Sick, despicable human being. And he also, uses the Telegraph to attack Harry and Meghan, especially in this case. But again, I'm not even going to prolong it. Department of Homeland Security has rejected a request by the conservative heritage group, conservative hate group, I will call them, Hate Foundation, to expedite the Freedom of Information Act request by the think tank for the release of the immigration records of the Duke of Sussex. The DHS senior director, Jimmy Wolfrey, wrote in a letter that to the extent the record exists, this office does not find a public interest in disclosure sufficient to override the subject's privacy interests, according to the New York Post. So whatever. That is, they have an official letter on Twitter that that was sent to them. The Homeland Department said no. So I'm sure they're going to appeal, and they're going to keep appealing. The Homeland, they're not going to do it. So there you go. It is just a hate campaign that they are, to use them as the Biden administration is failing. Except when Harry and Meghan came to New York, to the U.S., Trump was in office, not Biden. So it's just a hate campaign. It is just nasty, hateful British people. And so he is British and is in the U.S. trying to use the U.S. government again. It's just, never mind. Moving on. Anyways, this story, I have been saying this forever, and I'm happy to see someone finally saying it. Raw Story had this story. It says, ex-Fox News exec says the FCC should consider revoking Rupert Murdoch's licenses. I have been saying this forever. I'm like, wherever Rupert Murdoch is, democracy will die. And you see it over and over and over in the US, in the UK, in Australia. I'm like, this guy has got to go. They have got to take this license away. They've got to revoke it. So I'm happy to see an Fox News executive say the same thing. Preston Patton, who served as a Fox executive in 1990 to 1997, writes for The Beast that the right-wing network may be a revocation candidate, citing a section of the Communications Act that requires the FCC to assess the character qualifications of those broadcasting on public airways. And it's a not too long article, so the link is going to be in the show notes. You can read the whole article. Patton argues that Fox News intentionally reported false allegations that the 2020 election was stolen over fears of losing viewers to competing conservative outlets. So the issue at hand is, should the FCC review Fox's character qualifications to remain a steward of the public airways? The article also talked about the lie that Fox did with Dominion, when now they have to pay Dominion over $700 million, which they have not appealed it because they just said, yes, we did, sorry, and are paying it. And so they deliberately lied about Dominion, that, that the boxes were whatever, that the election were rigged, the boxes were rigged, and all of those things. They deliberately were lying. And so this guy's like, no, this is the time. You got to consider revoking his license. I have been saying this for ages. And so today when I saw this, I was like, yes, 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 yes. This is exactly what needs to happen because they are deliberately lying to people. It's not just a mistake. I mean, everybody makes mistakes, or somebody could have a wrong story or whatever. They are deliberately lying. As Patton said, they deliberately lied about the 2020 elections for fear of losing to competing conservative outlets. And you see what happened. That lie caused January 6th to happen, where one of their own lost their life. Police officers lost their lives. A lot of them are now in jail. I mean, so much havoc they caused because of what Fox did. And to this day, people are still like, oh, the election was rigged, and and Trump is continuing his mess. And it's just a whole big mess. And all of it goes right back to Rupert Murdoch and Fox. They are deliberately doing it. So I am all for this. When I saw this, I was very happy. And I don't understand why this was not done a long time ago. This is the person Niles Gardner needs to be talking about. But no, they're all right wing. So he gives Rupert Murdoch a pass and to go attack someone who is literally sitting there making a difference and making a positive difference in people's lives. Unbelievable. These right wing, hypocritical people. So anyway, moving on. We talked about this the other day. This story with Tyler Perry purchasing BET and VH1, and we still have not gotten confirmation. Tyler hasn't said anything. His people hasn't said anything about it. Paramount hasn't said anything about it. So we are still waiting to get confirmation if this is a fact or not. And so apparently the people who posted it first, they have taken down their posts because, again, no one knows for sure, and Tyler hasn't said anything. So we're waiting to get confirmation. And the funny thing about it, I saw an article that says the fact that so many people were celebrating when they heard it, even though we don't know if it's true yet, it shows why this is so important to everyone, especially the Black community. It shows why, this is something that needs to happen, because it's like, everybody was celebrating when they heard like Tyler bought it. But again, it could be true. We know that he had bid for it. Him and a bunch of other people had put in bids for it. So we don't know who got it. We don't know the outcome of it. So we're still waiting to find out exactly what the deal is with it. So as soon as I know, I will let you know. But we know this is happening. Tyler Perry and Netflix, Ted Sarandos, amplified the untapped audience. And this is a master of scale. And the funny thing with this is Harry had been on this before with Alex Robichaud from Better Out. They have done this podcast or this seminar, or however you want to call it. He has done this. They've done it before. So this is master of scale. This says this week, listen to filmmaker and entrepreneur Tyler Perry and Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos chat with Reid Hoffman about redefining culture, evaluating the playing field, and ignoring conventional wisdom. And so they're having this another master of. Actually, I think Harry and Alex have done this twice. They've done this twice. So it's really great to see, and again, both of these people are in Harry and Meghan's life. Ted Sarandos, obviously, he's the head of Netflix, and then obviously Tyler Perry and his connection to the Sussexes. So they are both part of Harry and Meghan's world. And so it's really, really wonderful to see, that they're all like this big circle of people, So that we know Tyler is doing. We're just waiting on, to see if the BET part is going to happen. So that's awesome. And then finally, thank you, Sussex legend X100 Pack, for posting this wonderful picture today on Twitter. I saw it and I was like, oh, I have to share this. It was so wonderful. I'm so happy that whether she created it or he or she, whoever Sussex legend is on part of the squad, who that created this. It's so beautiful. And I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so wonderful. I have to share this. So thank you, Sussex legend. This is Meghan, her mom, and her grandma, all Raglan women, 3 generations of Raglan women. And I was just like, oh, This is just beautiful. So absolutely beautiful. So thank you for sharing that. And that's all. That's all I got today. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I am not going to be on in the chat today. I have work to later on today, so I'm not going to be there. So I'm going to post this at some point today. Thank you to our moderators, as always, Church Nelly, Lydia, Karen M, Cookies and Cream. Thank you all so much for I'll leave the chat on so that way you guys can be in the chat. Behave yourselves, people. You always do. But anyways, thank you all so much. As usual, the amazing work you do protecting our chat. Thank you to our wonderful 2 cents crew, which this list I have to update, and I've been running crazy and have not updated it yet. But thank you to our wonderful 2 cents crew who support the channel on a monthly basis. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And also to our Gold Star supporters who support in the chat, donating, super chat, or purchasing super chat, super stickers, super things, all of those things. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel. I appreciate you, and it's so very much. Thank you. And again, if you are new here, or if you're just hanging out with us and you just haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe and click the notification bell so you know when we drop a video. And also please like the the podcast, share the podcast, help us build the channel, and if you're able, join the channel, join the 2 cents crew. That would be fantastic as well. I'm just gonna put my brand back on there. Everybody know 2 cents, facts and 2 cents, facts and 2 cents. As if you need 2 of them, but thank you guys so much. I love you all. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you next time. Bye.